Hey guys, how is everybody doing? The month of October is already behind us, and we are in November already. Dear Lord, that means 2024 is almost over. That means 2025 is almost here. Oh dear Lord, this year has gone by too fast, and that's too close for comfort. And also, since October is done, that means the spooky season is over. I only put up like two Halloween decorations, so nothing has really changed. So, with October behind us, let's talk about the six movies that I watched during the month of October. And if you are just now tuning in my channel, if you have just now discovered me, or if you're just new to this series, this is a monthly series that I like to do to where I take all the movies that I watched during the month and I rank them all from worst to best. I've been doing it since the beginning of the year. I do not have a January one because at the time I only saw two movies, and for this month I have six movies to talk about. So with that all out of the way, let's rank all six movies. So with that all the way, let's kick this all off with number six. The worst movie of October is going to be Joker Folie à Deux, or just Joker 2, whatever you want to call it, but Joker 2. Now, I kind of had a lot of expectations going into this movie. It was one of my most anticipated movies of the year, back when I did my most anticipated movies of 2024 earlier this year, and this movie was on it. I am a huge fan of that first Joker movie. I think that is a very well made movie. It's a great comic book movie. Sure, Todd Phillips doesn't like to agree that it's a comic book movie, but it's a Joker movie. I don't know what you expect. And there's a lot of controversy about that, but we'll get into it. And when they announced the sequel, I was kind of excited, but yet nervous because it had been so long. I didn't think the Joker movie needed really a sequel. I felt that was just a good one and done movie, but I was very excited to see what else they can do for this universe and do for these characters. Harley Quinn was going to come in. I didn't think Lady Gaga was a very good choice, but again, I'll get into that. But but as time drew near, I started to get more excited. The thought of it being a musical kind of excited me more because that meant it was going to be different. It might be interesting. And the music might be good because Lady Gaga is going to be playing Harley Quinn. I felt that was like the only reason they casted her is because she's a musician, and maybe that's why they decided to make it a musical is because Lady Gaga was going to be playing Harley Quinn. And now, what do I think about the movie after so much controversy and just so much weird behind the scenes? In the end, I founded myself disappointed in the movie. Now, I want to make myself very clear. I do not hate this movie. If anything, I've gained more love for this movie just a tad bit more because so many people on the internet hate this movie, which I don't get. Yeah, it's not a very good movie. It's not a very good sequel to that first movie. Does it ruin that first movie for me? No, because I can erase this movie from existence. I can pretend this movie never existed. I can pretend that Joker was just a standalone movie. But you get so many people on the internet just hating this movie, and people just somehow just not knowing it was a musical. Like when people are saying they never advertised it as a musical, which yes they did, and two, they have Lady Gaga in the role of Harley Quinn. What do you expect? And when you look up the movie, it says musical drama. Like, there's so much advertisement of this movie that just said that it was a musical, and for some reason people didn't know that. Does that hurt the movie? A little bit. It just happens in moments that it just felt inappropriate to have them. It just happened in random moments I felt didn't need to be there. You literally have Joker, who is possibly the greatest villain in all of cinema history, along with Darth Vader, and you have him singing in Arkham Asylum. Singing. What? You're gonna have him singing in like the biggest place that has like the most psychopaths in the fucking world? No, he would have died. In real life, if someone started singing in Arkham Asylum, they would be dead. They would have killed that guy. So, yeah, I don't hate the movie. I just found it myself disappointed. Was Lady Gaga at least decent in the role? Was she at least a kind of a point in this movie that kind of helped out the movie for me? Not really, because we didn't really get to see Harley Quinn. We only saw Lady Gaga because we only got to see the parts where she was singing. She didn't really become Harley Quinn until maybe the last 30 minutes of the movie. And speaking of last 30 minutes, I won't spoil it for those who have not seen it, but the ending of this movie is just terrible. I I really thought that since this was going to be the final Joker movie, I really thought they would kind of like at least go out with a bang, at least go out with a satisfying ending for Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, who once again does a great job as the role. I felt he did very good, especially what he was given. He did good. But like the way you decide to end his character and the way you decide to end this series and this universe, I feel you did a terrible job, terrible execution, just a terrible way to go out. And sure, this is a very disappointing movie for the year. Disappointing film for me. Is it one of the worst of the year? God no. There are worse comic book movies in the world. Hell, you got Madam Web, and which also this movie is the lowest rated comic book movie in history on Cinema Score. Somehow, Madam Web was higher than it. In case if you don't know, I really hate Madam Web. Coming in at number five is going to be a kind of a surprising movie for me because I didn't really know about this movie until like maybe like mid October, and that is Mr. Crockett. Now I didn't know anything about this movie. I found out about it like mid October, and I only found out about it because some people who came out of Fantastic Fest apparently saw of it on an early screening, and they said it was decent and it's at least worth a watch. I found out it was on Hulu, which Hulu original movies don't usually work for me, but I was like, you know what, I'll give it a shot. And surprisingly, the movie's decent. I had a decent time with it. It's not really a movie that I think everybody would love it. I would understand why some people won't like it, but it worked for me. So basically, what you get from this movie is like this cool like kids morning TV show in a way with this character of Mr. Crockett. He is a supernatural like being, and you find and he is a kids show host where he has all these weird puppets and all these weird furry animal creatures that can talk, and he has this little show. And these kids love him. These parents that don't really care about their kids, they'll throw it on, and he'll be on there. But kids with like really bad parents, he'll like somehow come out of the TV. He'll come out of the TV show somehow because of supernatural stuff, and he'll kill the parents and take the kids, and he'll have them in his whole like playground thing and try to bring them to a new world and all that. It's a really wacky movie, a really interesting movie in a way because it's interesting. I felt the character of Mr. Crockett was interesting. He has a pretty tragic backstory, which at the same time it's kind of weird that he had that going on, but it's interesting. I thought the movie was unique. It was different for sure. It's not something I would recommend to everybody, but it was just a movie I didn't really expect. I more just watched it just to get into the spooky season. It was mid October. I wanted to watch something new. I wanted to watch a new horror movie, and I just saw this movie was new on Hulu, and I just checked it out because some people told me it was decent, and I enjoyed it. I would honestly recommend this movie if you want to see something different and something unique. It's an interesting story. It's interesting. I don't think the characters are anything to write home about. They're not great. The kid in this movie, the main kid, he's not overly likable because he like lost his father and now he's not like the best kid for his mother right now who's single and struggling. So yeah, he was really just a part of this movie that really took my enjoyment away. But overall, it's a decent movie. It's a decent time. I would recommend it just to see a brand new horror movie on Hulu, pretty much. Coming in at number four is going to be Venom: The Last Dance. Now, I didn't really have a lot of faith in this movie. I didn't really care about this movie after Man of Web came out and Morbius before that one. Like, I really thought this Sony Spider-Man universe and these Venom movies were pretty much dead. Now, I enjoy the other two Venom movies. They're the only good thing to come out of this Sony Spider-Man universe. And when I heard that there's a third one in the making, it's going to be the final one. It's going to be Tom Hardy's goodbye to this character pretty much. I was like, okay, might be decent. Trailers not great. They never really sold me on it, but it just looked like a fun time. It just looked like a decent little Venom movie. Just looked like a decent kind of on the road like road trip type movie, and that interested me. But what brought my attention, it really grabbed my attention at this movie, and the only reason I had more interest in going to this movie, but again, kind of false advertisement after kind of watching the movie, was that there were rumors that Venom: The Last Dance was going to lead into Tom Holland's Spider-Man 4. Because as we learned, that movies that release between Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars are going to be set on this multiverse like planet, And Spider-Man 4 releases about 3 months after Doomsday, which meaning it might be a multiverse film. And so we didn't know what to make of it. But then we started hearing rumors that Noel was going to be in this movie, which he was, which I felt they did okay with him. They didn't do much with him. They didn't really ruin him. They didn't really kind of they didn't really like shit the bed with him or anything like that. They didn't really ruin him because they barely used him. So you can't really ruin a character if you barely use him. But anyways, and we found out that Spider-Man 4's title might be Spider-Man: The King of the Black, which is what Noel's nickname is. And there were theories going around is that the multiverse Spider-Man movie that we might be getting is a team-up movie with Venom. So that was the only real reason that gained my excitement and kind of gained my interest a little bit. So after a few weeks of the movie being out, does it lead into that? No. It does not really lead into that, but you never know. We still don't know what Spider Man 4 is. But just watching this movie and just looking at this movie as its own thing and as a closeout to this Venom character and to this trilogy, what do I think about it? It's decent. It's a decent goodbye. It's a decent film. It's just a fun movie. And surprisingly, it is emotional towards the end of the movie. I won't spoil what happens, but it is emotional at the end. I remember watching it and I almost teared up because it was a actual goodbye to this character. And if this truly is the final time we see Tom Hardy as this role as Venom, I just want to say thank you, Tom. You gave us the only thing that was decent in this universe. You really gave us the only fun part of this universe. You gave us the only good thing about it, and I admire your dedication with this character. And I'm glad to see you got to do your trilogy, and I'm glad to see you got to do this series, which should have never really happened. But I guess we're thankful to even see we got something decent out of this universe. So thank you, Tom, for that, and thank you for your dedication to it. So yeah, it's a decent movie. It's a decent goodbye to this character, and it's just a fun time. And no surprise, it is one of the better Sony Spider-Man universe movies. Coming in at number three is another surprise for me, and that is the remake of Salem's Lot. Now, I had never seen the original Salem's Lot until this movie came out early in October, and I tried to read the book, but unfortunately, I just didn't have time. I don't really have interest to go back to it. I read about 100 pages. What I read was good. I honestly enjoyed it for what I got from it. And I'm not the biggest fan of that original. I didn't think it was very good, especially who was involved. It should have been better. Toby Hooper directing it should have, in my mind, been better but it just didn't really work for me. The vampire stuff in it was cool, and then I kind of got more faith in this movie. I got more faith in this Max remake, but at the same time, it had been shelved for like 3 years. They literally filmed it in 2021. I think that was in 2021 when they filmed it because in the credits at the very end it says 2021. That means that's when it was filmed. So I kind of got nervous about it, but I went in open minded. I was sick one day at school, and so when I was sick, after I got some homework done, just kind of resting, decided to watch it, pop it in, and I watched it, and honestly, I prefer this over the original. And the only reason I really enjoy this is because I'm a huge vampire fan. I'm a huge fan of old school vampires like The Lost Boys and Fright Nights, and recently Abigail that came out earlier this year. So yeah, when it comes to old school vampire movies, this movie just works for me. Sure, the characters again aren't really the right home about, but I felt they were better than the original. They were just more fun. And that ending of the movie, what I would have loved to see in the theater, which I think if this movie, I get it why this movie didn't release in theaters. It wasn't like I don't know, like the a great Stephen King adaptation or a great vampire movie that should have been released in theaters. Like I get it why they released it on Max because I don't really think this movie would have did good financially if it was in theaters. But yeah, I really dug that ending of the movie, which was very old school vampires, and the design they gave the main vampire. Forget his name, but I thought he was badass looking. He was really cool. So just as an old school vampire movie, and just as a Stephen King adaptation, it's good. It's just as an old school vampire movie, it's really good. I don't know how it works as a Stephen King adaptation. I haven't read the full book, but it's pretty enjoyable. I really enjoyed the movie. It was just fun as a just good old throwback to 80s vampire movies, which I'm very glad to see is making its comeback because last 2 or 3 years, we've been slowly getting old school vampire movies again. And at the end of the year, we're going to be getting Nosferatu. And I'm really hoping that movie will be as good as I'm hoping it will be. And it'll really bring back old school vampires and shows the world and shows Hollywood that that's how vampire movies are meant to be made. And this movie also shows that because it's fun. I really enjoyed it. Seeing all the carnage, seeing just vampires look badass and fuck people up. It was just a fun time. And if you're a huge vampire fan like I am, I would recommend this one. And actually, kind of surprisingly, this one is my number two, and I didn't expect that to be, and that is Smile 2. Now, I will be honest, when I first watched this movie, I didn't care about it that much. I originally watched it and I was like, oh, I didn't really care about that. That one is a huge disappointment. I was hoping it would be better than the first one, because I'd watched it, I didn't really care about it. It was decent at best. It just didn't overly work for me. However, after a few weeks, about maybe 2 weeks after its release, the more I thought about it, the more I kind of thought about the movie and I kind of looked at the movie, what it was supposed to be, because I didn't even know what the movie was going to be. I walked into it blind, no advertisements, stayed away from them. Every time it would come on, I would either change the channel on my TV or I just look down at my phone in the theater, like when the trailer was playing. I wanted to avoid it at all costs. I wanted to go into it completely blind. So that was kind of on me not knowing what the movie was going to be about, because I originally didn't like it because I thought it was like a boring biopic-ish movie about this singer Sky Riley that I didn't really care about that much because she's kind of unlikable, former drug addict, former alcoholic, and I just didn't really, and I didn't know if I could root for her then because she just didn't seem like a great character, and it was very rare if any of the smiles or the smile entity things showed up, and it just kind of bummed me out, and I didn't really enjoy it that much. But however, after weeks of thinking about it, the more I thought about the movie and the more I kind of realized what the movie was trying to be and what the movie is trying to be, the more I like it. I really enjoyed Smile 2 to where now I preferred over that first one to where I want a third one now, which inevitably we're going to get. It was good financially and critically, so we're probably going to get it. So it just when I more I think about it to see what that movie is trying to be and see that the Smile entity doesn't show up much because it's trying to make Sky Riley look crazy, and I thought the music was decent for her being a pop singer, and some of the music that's in it I thought was actually kind of good. I'm not a huge fan of musicals, which this movie isn't by any means, but it was decent. And just a little thing that I really liked about the movie that I really liked how Jack Nicholson's son was in this movie. That was really cool. I thought that he's not in it much. He's in maybe like two scenes. But yeah, he I thought he was cool. God, I just put my fist on that thing. But I thought it was just cool to see him in this movie, like because he looks really cool. He just looks scary when he smiles, which gets it from his father. So yeah, the more I thought about Smile 2, the more I still think about it, the more I actually really enjoy to where I can see it making like my top 10 favorite horror movies of the year. So yeah, if you liked Smile or if you loved Smile, I can definitely see you preferring this over the original because the directing and writing is much better than that first one, and the more direction where they go is getting better. And I'm pretty sure by the third one, it's probably going to be even better. So this second one is still a promising start to what could be a very interesting anthology like series. So yeah, if you enjoyed that first one, or if you loved that first one, or if you thought that first one was just okay, I can see a lot of people preferring this one. If you didn't even like that first movie, then I don't see you enjoying this one anymore. But I can see you at least seeing some progress in this series. So yeah, if you enjoyed the last one, I can definitely see you enjoying this one. But coming in at my number one, my favorite movie of October 2024, and it's not really a high bar for me because I've just grown to love the series even more, and that is Terrifier 3. Now, Terrifier 2 is one of the biggest surprises for me 2 years ago when it came out. I thought that was a huge surprise. It was a huge step in progress with this character. When I found out Terrifier 3 was coming out, I was excited. I found out it was a Christmas horror movie, which I thought was going to be taking place like 2 months after Terrifier 2 because that one takes out place on Halloween. But no, it's just bad writing because it takes place like 3 years later, and for some reason, for 3 years, Art the Clown has just been sitting in an attic in a rocking chair, just staring out a window. And the girl's face that he mauled off is just laying in a bathtub full of mold. For 3 years. 3 years. Come on, Damien, that's just bad writing, okay, man? But other than that, it's a great movie. It's just another great installment in this Terrifier series. I'm really glad to see they took a big step forward and kind of progress and kind of showing us and giving us more explanation on Sienna's father and how he saw Art the Clown and how Sienna was supposedly the chosen one for to defeat Art the Clown, and we're just seeing a huge step in progress. We don't see too much progress on what Art the Clown is. We see that he's kind of supernatural. One thing I didn't really like was the girl's face that he mauled off is apparently kind of controlled by Art, and now that kind of gives Art the Clown a voice, which I don't think we needed, but I'm sure by the fourth movie I'm going to change my mind. So yeah, it's another great installment in this Terrifier series. It's another step in progress of explanation and further lore of Sienna and her family. Art the Clown is great as always. He's just messing up people, killing kids. It's a thing that happens. And I'm gonna sound messed up, but when he killed the kid in the beginning, I kind of bursted out laughing on accident because I didn't expect that. So yeah, that I don't know what that says about me. I am going to hell. I'm going to hell. That is for sure. But yeah, it's just another great installment in this series. If you loved the other two, you're definitely gonna love this one. If you didn't care for the first one, but if you really enjoyed the second one and you're seeing a step of progress like I did, then Terrifier 3 is absolutely for you. It's another great installment in the Terrifier series, and looks like to become a modern Christmas classic. And also, for everybody that celebrates Christmas in November, it's not Christmas yet. Thanksgiving hasn't happened yet. Reminding you all. Thank you all so much for watching my ranking of all 6 October movies. Let me know which movies you watched in the month of October, and let me know down in the comments below and rank them if you so wish. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, if you like this video, like it. If you love to subscribe, hit the bell notification so you will get notified for all my latest videos. And of course, until my next video, I'll see you all next time.